when my marriage was falling apart, I listened. I had no voice. Literally, I was like, promise. Apparently, I talk too much. What must I stop talking, my friend?
Stop talking, my friend.
Plus, Luena.
Oh, friend. Hi everyone, welcome to Ownnarrativepodcast by myself, Promise Makunyane. This podcast is about marriage and family dynamics. Marriage, be it anything that revolves around it, divorce, extramarital kids, baby mamas, step parenting, blended families, and you name it, in-laws, you name it. And the blended families, be it siblingship, baby mama, baby daddy still, and whatever you call blended families. And this podcast episode is sponsored by Glee Thrifting. I'm actually dressed by them. This is a thrifting store that is based in Johannesburg, Parkhurst. I'm going to leave their details below so that you can support them. They've got timeless pieces, so please do support them. And today, guys, I've got a familiar face on my platform, actually. Most of you guys, or some of you guys, you know this face from my reality show, My Husband This, My Husband That. If you don't know, please go and watch it. The first few videos on this podcast, it's my reality show. It's a 3-part reality show. So people know her from there. And apparently I was not a good friend to you. People realize that I'm bossy. I'm not a good friend. And I'm just bossing you around. I don't know how to speak to you. And what do you feel about that? What do you have to say for yourself?
Are you a good friend?
Friend, I'm trying.
I'm kidding. I read those comments and I'm just like, I think it's what people see.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can't always come and defend ourselves all the time. As long as we know we're cool.
Yeah. But it's really, obviously the comments were not entirely true, but that I always say that I want to be a better friend,
Yeah.
I can be loud, I can be like overpowering, but I really, really genuinely, I don't like that. And I want to really just be a better friend to you and all my other friends. Anyway, welcome, madam, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Finally, I was wondering, hi, man.
You can't say finally because I just started yesterday and you're part of the first people that are coming here. I never what else me say, you see this friendship now. It's already, Anyway, my friend.
The first shall be last.
And the bombs, Anyway, my friend, for those that do not know you, actually also people don't know you,
No,
So please introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do. Yeah.
All right. My name is Tiisetso Kgomo. It's still so very hard to actually say my surname.
It's strange listening
It's
to you.
very strange to hear me say it, but nonetheless, my name is Tiisetso Kgomo. I am an IT professional. I am a single mom of 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Very
Beautiful. Please.
Your husband did the thing, your ex-husband did the things.
Yeah. And what else? I have, should I call it a coaching business called Purpose Project. I run a ministry called The Beauty of Transparency, a ministry that literally introduces you to a God that heals, that restores, and that pursues you. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me. We'll get into the video and you'll get to know me.
Yeah. And where are you originally from? How did you grow up?
I was born in Limpopo. I am a Pedi, I'm a Pedi girl.
Cool.
Atlo is my second name. I was born in Limpopo in that year. And then we moved to KwaNdebele in Siyabuswa. So I think when I was 2 years old, we moved from Limpopo to KwaNdebele. So I spent my life in KwaNdebele in Siyabuswa.
Yeah.
And I think I've at some point I spoke fluent Ndebele.
Did you?
Yeah, because my nanny was in Ndebele.
Yeah.
And when I went back home, it was like, I even have weird nicknames back at home because Haisham speaks.
What are the nicknames? I'm gonna call you
exactly
why I can't grandmother call you the name that you said your grandmother. You put it on your status, and I was like, I'm gonna start calling you that. I think it's your
my uncle.
Oh, you
My uncle calls me Sibonegu. So I'm the first grandchild.
Yeah.
So when I was born, my grandmother, from my paternal grandmother, was so excited. So
Yeah.
she would buy me like expensive stuff and bring them to my mom's home. So my uncle would be like, "Yo, Sibonegu." She's like, "Yeah, here we're seeing things that we've never seen." Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, my friend, I think we are just going to go straight into. Actually, before I go straight into your story, right? I'm going to go into your dad's passing, right? And how have you been? How have you taken your dad's passing?
Yeah.
How has it been?
So,
and now that you are older, how are you taking that?
I think that's such a good question, because I think only now I'm realizing I'm actually grieving now while I'm divorcing. So my dad passed away in 2015. A lot of people, like you only get it when somebody close to you passes away, that time really doesn't do the healing, like they say. We just learn to live with it. You learn to live with the fact that you're not going to call him and ask for advice. You're not going to, but there are times where it hits that, man, especially when you've achieved stuff. You want to go back home and be like, this. And my dad was one proud man. He was a proud man who showed me off. So whenever I achieve something, it hits me again that, I can't go back and be like, oh, Papa, remember the thing that you said I can do? I actually did it, So time goes and you learn how to live without the person.
Yeah.
But it still kind of hurts, I always say that when that pain comes back, I say the ball has hit the corner, because sometimes it's like a square and the ball is moving around, and when it hits the corner, you remember that, snap,
almost.
Yeah, so I would hint that this is what I'm going through at that time. So what I said when I said, I think I'm dealing with the grief now, I'm like, only now I'm sitting back and realizing that I didn't grieve back then. He passed away in 2015, and in already 2016 I was getting married, and when he passed away, I was somewhat mad at him. So
why were you mad at him?
So he and my mom were not okay. So there was like, I always say that I grew up in a dysfunctional family where, in the household we are, fighting, and then outside we must look like, So that was what's happening. I was in varsity, and there was stuff that he was doing back at home that I didn't agree with.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really on good terms with him when he passed away. So when he passed away, I first had to deal with the forgiveness of the things that he had done first before it hit me that he's gone. Because I remember the day I was told he passed away, I was just like, no, but we still have so much to talk about.
Oh my God.
And when he passed, funny enough, when they called me and they wanted me to come home, I didn't even ask about him, and I knew he was in hospital. I didn't ask about him. I asked about my mom.
Yeah.
I'm like, is my mom okay? But I mean, I was just, told a few minutes ago that my dad has been rushed into ICU.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to paint the picture of how him and I were literally.
You were not there.
Yeah, I was so mad at him.
Yeah.
So the anger I had towards him prolonged for so long that I thought I was grieving, but I wasn't. Yeah.
That's so deep.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch on you being mad at your dad.
Yeah.
Was it because of the relationship that you were seeing between? Were you defending your mom? Was it like a second-hand thingy from your mom? Because what my dad has taught us, we've had like issues with my dad and how he would lead his life, but outside. My dad inside 100%, him and my mom and everything. But what would hear that outside is doing this, is dating whoever, all those things. And then that's what would potentially fight with him about and stuff. And one thing that he told us was that, and there was a year, actually there was 1 year that it was the only year that we've ever fought about this thing, right? And we took sides, like we were obviously on my mom's side, and he told us, he was like, my children, I know I'm wrong, I know, but don't take sides, don't take sides. And now that you were married, you've got kids, and how do you think you would have best handled the situation that was happening between your mom and your dad?
So with ours, it was a bit different.
Okay.
Where before I was really close with my dad, very close. So close that he was the first person to tell me about the birds and the bees and my periods. That's how close we used to be. And when he changed, he didn't just change towards my mom, but even towards me. So there was a time I got disowned by him. So the anger was a build-up of, you're doing this to her. Yes, I'm taking her side because you've shown me that you could actually do it to me too. You know, but that wasn't 100% true. I mean, I'm looking at it now and I'm just like, he tried. But then because you were already, you already closed him off, you couldn't see how much he was trying to win you back.
Yeah.
So for me, I was told a whole lot of times that no, don't get yourself involved between your mom and your dad. But at some point I was being blamed for a certain thing that was happening. So my dad was blaming me.
Okay.
So I was kind of like, I was the firstborn.
Yeah.
So I
scapegoat.
Yeah, it was, so when things happened, I was kind of involved all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, so until I got to varsity where obviously I'm not there for him to blame me for certain things, but I carried the anger.
Yeah.
I carried that unforgiveness towards him until we laid him to rest.
Prior to him dying, I'm talking more about your dad now because I just want to understand.
Yeah, bring background. Because
Yes.
I mean, the marriages we go into are largely influenced by our backgrounds.
A reflection of our backgrounds.
Yeah. No, so I think for me, with my kids, I think the same thing with my daughter. I can't tell her to pick sides or not to pick sides.
Yeah.
Because she's already seen so much. The most I can do is pray that she heals better and faster than I did. And I mean, right now I know better about healing, about all of that. Then it's my responsibility then is to
help
steer her into the right direction, to understand that mommy and daddy are like this, but you can still be for mom and dad. Yeah.
That's actually so painful.
Yeah.
It's so painful, especially for her age. At least you were in varsity. How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 6. I started experiencing things back at home when I was in grade 2.
Oh.
Yeah, so it goes far back. It goes far back. And the thing about children, they don't forget.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't forget.
Yeah.
We react later on, but we don't. It's very rare for a child to forget such a painful incident.
Yeah, and I think it's just hard for a human being. What it does is that when something painful happened to you, you just shut it out. It takes it to whatever brain, it shuts it down. And when you grow up or when you now meet something that is similar, it triggers that thing, and then you realize that it's so funny how you can, when you're older, remember things when you're young, but throughout your living you were not actually thinking about it. Yeah. It's actually so. So when your dad passed, when was the last time you spoke to him, and what was your last conversation?
Sure. Little toxic. No. I think 2 weeks before he passed away, I got sick. So something happens to my body when something is wrong in the spirit.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a story for another day. But
so a signal it was.
Yeah, I got sick. And then that's when I spoke to him. I think he came with my mom. They came, they saw me, they took me to the doctor.
In Pretoria?
Yeah, in Pretoria. And then they went back. And then I needed money for something. But also I knew that my mom, my mom was carrying all of us with her salary alone. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask her. Let me ask this gent. Like, why is he quiet? I sent him a long text. I'm like, ever since I've been in university, I remember you sending me money. Please send me money. I need for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he didn't respond to my text. And I got mad. And I sent him a message and I said to him, I don't understand why you're not answering me. Like, you could have just told me, no, I don't want to give you money.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I got convicted like a few days later, and I sent him a long message to say, look, I forgive you. I don't know what it looks like, but I forgive you. But I don't think I knew what that meant. I just know that God said you need to forgive your dad. And I didn't know why that was and why I had such a, pressing to do it. I sent him a message and he didn't respond, but he didn't respond because he was ill. And also because of the stuff that happened back then when I was in varsity, when I was in high school, my mom limited the stuff of like the kind of things that she would tell me.
Yeah.
So they didn't tell me he was sick. And I was only told when he went to ICU. Yeah. And so my last conversation, it wasn't a conversation, it was just a text.
It still was just a text.
Yeah, from me.
And he never responded.
Yeah, he only responded to there's a time where I told him I loved him after I got sick, and he responded to me and he's like, no matter what, you'll always be my girl. And that's it. Yeah.
I think that's just a nice thing to just hold on to now.
I'm remembering all those things now. Back then I didn't.
Yes, because
back then
actually
the
first time I hear you say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, ma'am, you get married.
Yeah.
When do you get married?
Guys,
this is me trying to interview my friend, because I've seen the comment on the conversation I had with Letabo. I took a lot of them. I think I was speaking from a point of knowing the story.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying, and thank you for the comments and
we'll pretend you know that.
I pretend that I know nothing.
Yeah, so the year's 2016.
Yeah.
It's December. We get married with this handsome man from Velkom. We got married. I'm born again. Tongue talking, love the Lord. Jesus is the healer. I'm willing to die on.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
And before we got married, we fell pregnant.
Yeah.
We fell pregnant during the whole talks of, so we had the plan. December, we're going to do Lobola, and then the following year's white wedding. The excitement, filled in, and then Aisha, our firstborn, was on the way. So now I'm grieving. And now I'm grieving my dad. Well, what I thought was grieving. I'm dealing with the loss of my dad, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm now dealing with the guilt of being in the church and pregnant before marriage. So it was a lot that was going on. And I think if I was wiser then, I would have put off the marriage or the wedding or whatever, put it off to a later date year if I knew, but I didn't, and I went into the marriage like that.
Do you think you got married in your truth and in your honesty? Do you think you guys got married to cover up for the pregnancy that happened before sex before marriage? It's a sin.
So no and yes.
Okay.
So I'll say no because the plans were already set. Like we knew that this is what's going to happen. The letters were already, going there and whatever. We knew that that's what supposed to happen. The plan was Lobola 2016 in December, and then the following year, September, is the white wedding.
And you fall pregnant when?
And I fell pregnant 2 months before, like October.
Okay.
Somewhere there. I don't know how many months. Yeah, October. Found out mid-October that I was pregnant.
Gave birth in June.
Yeah. So in October, that's when...
I actually shared a day with her firstborn. That's so nice.
It is. So I think, and then, so that I would say partly no, yes, because I remember when I sat down, my mom, nobody pressured anyone to get married. No one said, you're pregnant, now get married.
Yeah.
But I remember having this thing in me and I'm like, okay, fine. If we're not getting married in December, we have to do it before June. So that when I give birth, both me and my daughter have the same surname. Like, then it's not Kgomo and the other one is Selekwe. I don't even know why that was a reason enough. But because I'm big on lineage.
Yeah.
So I'm very big on that. So at that point, I remember I had conversations with people. I'm like, isn't it weird that you're going to give birth? And, and we were like, okay, cool, we're going to get married. And I think I asked him that, are you going to pay damages only? And then later, we get married. And then he's like, no, we'll do all of it.
Yeah.
And then that's what he said, right? We get married and I'm jumping the gun. Fast forward to first year of marriage, we are in post-marital counseling. And he says now that he felt rushed.
Into the marriage?
We are in the marriage. And he said, he felt like he was forced, or not even forced, rushed to get married because of the baby.
Okay.
He didn't say what made him feel that way, but he did say that.
Okay.
And I think that's when things just went.
The first year of the marriage.
Yeah, but I was still stubborn.
Yeah.
Born again girl to hold on to my
But No, before the marriage.
Yeah.
Was there no issues, no where you saw that, hey man, this person, how long did you date before you got married?
So I'm trying to recall. He chased me for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say 2 years, because in the third year, that's when I gave him a chance. Yeah, and then we dated probably for 10 months.
Okay.
Or so.
Okay.
Yeah. But we were like friends then.
Knew each other.
Yeah, we knew each other. But I gave him like that formal chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then were the signs? Definitely. I was just naive.
Yeah.
And I was like chairperson of Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
Look, I thought I had all the tools in my toolbox to build up this person. There were so many red flags, both on my end and his side.
His end.
And I didn't know that there were red flags. And also the problem that I have, like I speak about it a lot, is that most of the things that I saw, it's dysfunctions that are made to seem like they're okay. They're normalized.
Just give us an example.
For example,
we don't see, because as we're still inside, we are doing it. Maybe we don't see.
Yeah. For example, I'll give you I have so many examples, but also I don't want to. It's not a smear campaign.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out
which one to pick that is not personal.
I mean, they'll all be personal because it's red flags. So this one, I think I'll say because it's a reflection of both me and him. Okay, cool. Right. So we're in a car, we're driving, and he says to me, okay, should I say? I'll tell you two.
Music.
He says to me, I know music. No, I said to him, I'm obviously we're born again. I get it. I said to him, I asked him a question. I don't remember what the question was about, but it was about the Bible. Yeah. And then I wanted to pick his brain on how he thought of something. And then instead of him answering me, he shut me up. Mm-hmm. He said to me, why do you always have to have the upper hand? Or rather, he didn't even answer me. He just said, why must you always come across as a person who knows everything? Like he literally didn't answer. Yeah. His answer was, you don't know everything. Yeah. And you must just know that you don't. And if I don't say anything, you can't now say anything above it. Oh. I'm like, how? I was just asking a question about 1, 2, 3. He didn't answer. If he answered me and I said something and whatnot, no. But because I think he didn't know the answer to what I wanted, what I asked him, and then he came with the whole, "Shut up, you don't know everything." Yeah,
But also just to ask you from his side, because. Yeah. And now maybe it doesn't make sense because we are just going around it very sensitively. So also you when I'm hearing you that you ask him something Christian related and then he gave you this answer that was a red flag, right? Yeah. So how did you ask him? Because sometimes you Christians can come off as you know everything, and maybe, and you, friend, when I just met you, you were this Christian that was annoying, And I think we had this conversation, like, Tiisetso was muruti, like, she would potentially ask you questions, and if you don't know, I would assume that I would feel a certain way. My question is, didn't you maybe ask him in a way that it made, like, Tiisetso, you don't know everything, you don't own God, like something like that?
I don't think so. Yeah. But it could be. Yeah. I don't think so. I think for me, it was flowing. It was a conversation that was flowing. Get what you're right? Saying. Yeah. And sometimes the thing is that when I'm saying when a person doesn't know an answer to a certain thing, they always come up as defensive. They want to defend themselves before they even give you any kind of answer. Yeah. And I'll get to the annoying part of Christianity. Yeah. Me. I still am, I think.
Now I think they've matured.
No, I just choose not to say anything right now. Yeah. But I think for me, the red flag then was you don't talk like that to a person. Two, I was making conversation. And why would then now, because immediately when you speak like that, you're making me go into a place of I can't freely express myself around you.
I get you.
But I didn't pick it up because I was not self-aware, one. Two, to be honest, when I met my ex-husband then, he was literally, he had just gotten into the whole Christianity thing.
Yeah.
So maybe the question that I was asking, I was supposed to ask a person who was more, matured in that sense. My red flag in my own belief would be, you should have waited until the person was at a level that you are at.
I matured Christian.
Yeah. So I think that was one thing I overlooked that went into my marriage.
Yeah.
And to a point where I think I even had a conversation with you about this, to a point where every time I want to express myself, people take it as though I am trying to, I'm condescending. I'm trying to,
be the best.
Yeah, but it's literally, I would sit here and how I'll sit and I'll come up with a random question from what you were saying. It's not because I am trying to be like, do you see or you're the problem or what? No, I'm trying to make you realize something in the question that I'm asking, but maybe the delivery is what caused it to be. Yeah.
Now that I hear that you're saying when you guys were meeting or when you are going into a marriage, he was just getting into Christianity.
Yeah.
Do you think he went into Christianity to please you?
I think so. No, I think so, because how we met, he saw me, like we saw each other at church. I was about to sing, and then he went up to sit wherever I sitting. I saw him, and I was like, damn,
yeah,
brother is fine,
But then you guys met at church, so he was already going to
he
church.
came to church because they were coming to church with the mom.
Oh,
so when he saw me, he's like, oh, okay, Lena, he saw me at the same time. So then when he went, but then he started becoming consistent because I had been going to church and he was never there.
I hear you.
Yeah. So now that I was there and he saw me,
he started coming.
Yeah, he started coming a lot. He started doing a whole lot of things. That's my take. He might have a different take, but that's what I think. But he once told me that I try to change for you. So that gave me the hint.
Of which, and now, right now here, I will, because people are saying I'm always standing on the side of the person I'm interviewing. So I also want to stand on the side of the person I'm not interviewing and ask like other questions, right? I want to ask, but not like personal questions or anything like that.
No, ask anything.
But what I'm trying to ask you is that as women, right? As women, we like to do that, As women, we like to, or maybe let me speak for myself.
Yeah.
I got in a relationship with my husband and I wanted him to be a certain way. I did not like a certain things that he was doing.
Yeah.
For example, my husband is a funny man. He's a funny man. I never liked that about him, And to a point that people around me would find him funny, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And people around me would find him sarcastic or whatever. I wouldn't, And this was me having to change him and him being changed by me. Not because he's toxic, he's trying to please me, but because he loves me, he wants to be with me. And in Nakama, I'm saying I'm loving him, but I want to change him. Do you understand? So also what I'm saying is that maybe your husband was trying to, over and above, we're not saying he's a saint, but I'm just talking on that light that he wanted to now start being a Christian so that he can be liked by you, genuinely liked by you. And as women, we do that to men. We change them.
I mean,
we want them to be in a certain way for us.
In that light, when he met me and he decided to change, to be honest, and not to blow my own horn or anything, the standard was high. Yeah. At that point, look, I was like, don't touch me. I told him, and I'm like, dude, fix your relationship with God. And that's my belief. If anybody has a problem with that, that's it. That's my belief. Like, look, Christ should be the center. I told him when he was chasing in the 3 years, I'm like, look, fix your relationship with God first before you come to me. That should be, you just got born again. It's amazing. So enjoy that relationship first.
Yeah.
My problem then in that standard that was high, I lowered it.
To accommodate him.
But also me being the person that I am, I think I'm learning now that I am a pushover. Ne? I can literally, you can say something and I'll keep quiet and I'll be like, oh, okay, let's do it that way. That's literally how I am.
Is that your core, or you have built that in your marriage?
No. I think it has always been like that, but it comes from a people pleasing thing. So yeah, only now, when I'm realizing, yes, see, I think I'm a people pleaser.
Why do you think you're a people pleaser from a young age?
I think because because of how I grew up, I didn't lack anything.
Yeah.
I didn't lack anything. I think my dad, thinking about it now, my dad was the best covering I could have back then. But because I talk about this incident so much, but I will talk about it because it's my truth.
Yeah.
That there was an incident where I was at school. There was a prize giving award ceremony for kids. Yeah. And they called my name upstage, and they've been calling my name so many times. So that's one time when they called my name, baby girl stands up and Naomi Campbell's on the stage.
Body was saying yes, and it's still saying yes.
Girl, I don't even think I knew what I was doing. I was just excited. You know how kids are excited? Yes. I was just like, wow, it's my name again. And I'm like, freestyling on the stage, and people were screaming and shouting. I'm thinking, obviously I must scream because they've been calling me back to the stage,
Back to back.
I mean, at the start of the show, I went down with my awards, my trophies and my certificates. And I'm like, when I went to my mom and my dad, I wanted to give it to them. And their faces, they were like, my mom is like, why did you do that?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, why did I do what? Didn't you hear people were laughing at you? And mind you, when I was on stage, I didn't hear people laughing. I heard people cheering. And like, people were laughing at you. Why did you have to walk the way that you walked? And my dad is like, yo, you're such a show off. And I think that day changed how I carried myself. And I'm not going to cry. But it changed the way I looked at myself. It changed the way I wanted to be seen around people. I was embarrassed of having, I was embarrassed of having anything good, And I remember even with school, I wanted to underperform so that I can fit in. You get what I mean? So I started doing things just to please people. Not because that's what I want to do. I wanna go play netball. I wanna be an overachiever at netball and gymnastics.
And I think also just because that was said by the people that your gods.
Yeah.
You understand? All
that I know.
All that I know, all that I look up to, all that I believe. Whatever my mom is gonna say, I'm gonna believe it.
Yeah. So I started then giving myself to people in a way that I think they wanted me, And I think that's where the people pleasing came into place.
Yeah.
I will look, if you're saying, I think that's the reason why we had a little fallout. If you're saying, Tiisetso, you are annoying, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go back and try find an unannoying Tiisetso. Even though that's not Tiisetso. You get what I mean? And if it means, if you're saying, that annoying Tiisetso is because she talks too much, I'll stop. Because I'm like, no, but that's not who she wants you to be,
okay.
But I also realized that people pleasing is so manipulative. Because in as much as you're not thinking that a person wants something from you, you're expecting it in your subconscious that, when I give this way to myself, I expect you to give yourself the way I want to receive you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was such a moment for you when you were still young because look, you were being called back to back for an achievement. I've achieved.
Instead of saying congrats.
Yeah. You're telling me about how I'm okay. So that will also go into your moments, your big moments in life.
Yeah.
That you will overlook them.
Yeah.
You won't see that. And I think that's what you do most of the times that you would do stuff and I'll be like, you are waking, my friend. I'm proud of you. I don't think you see, and you still just be pushing or just wanting to do more still,
Yeah.
That said, did you ever have a conversation with your mom about that?
Well, she doesn't remember anything.
I'm sure. Black moms, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I didn't hold it against her. I think I was grateful I was able to remember it so that I can trace back and fix it.
100%.
Yeah, because it also trickled into my marriage where you are craving to get appraised and, applauded for things that you have done, but you don't get it. And then you still feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not enough.
Ish.
Yeah.
And a partner that can use that.
Yeah.
They will always use that, and you will always be wanting to reach this thing. Wanting to reach it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were doing in your marriage. You were just trying to reach something,
So I think one of the dysfunctions I talk about is like this skew definition of what submission must look like for a person.
Yeah. What does it have to look like?
Yeah, like the thing, literally doormat vibes. He can do anything. The thing is, Tiisetso, you talk too much. Tiisetso, and at that point, when my marriage was falling apart, I listened. I had no voice. Literally, I was like, promise. Apparently, I talk too much. What must I stop talking, my friend?
Stop talking, my friend.
Plus, Luena.
Oh, friend.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I stopped talking. But the more you stop expressing yourself, I remember I wrote in a journal recently that I got to a point where I was trying so hard to be what I thought he wanted me to be that each time I did that, I lost a bit of myself to a point where I couldn't recognize that woman. I could not recognize who I was.
Oh my God.
He can go do whatever he wants. When he comes back, he must find me in a lingerie.
Cooking. The kids sleeping.
I must serve him in a tray.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, those are the things that that irk me now.
Are you feeling betrayed? Like, do you feel like you betrayed yourself?
Yeah. In the beginning, when the divorce, was happening, I was like, how? And that betrayal turned into shame.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, you're so level-headed, or so you thought. And this literally has exposed how not level-headed you are. This exposed how weak you actually are. And how you can't actually stand up for yourself. And that alone put me in a space of shame. And I'm like, there's no way.
Can't you look at yourself in the mirror?
No. This marriage must work, because if it doesn't work, it's a reflection of my failures. I failed as a woman. Yeah.
That's deep, my friend. That's very deep. And for me, when I started meeting you in your marriage, because we coming from home, but I only started talking to you when you were married, actually. But then we're not talking about marriage all along. We started talking about marriage maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. When we started being close and talking about...
It was 2 years ago when there was an announcement that I'm divorcing and I didn't know.
The Instagram one.
So, just because people are going to complain.
They're going to say the inside jokes between friends.
This is what happened, like, I think in 2021.
Yes.
And I'll say it because it's the truth. And everybody knows about it.
Friend, that one, everyone saw it.
I was in a psych ward. Something had happened and I got up from my bed and I'm like, if I don't go out somewhere, I'm going to kill this person. And I think when I said I've lost myself, I had harbored so much unforgiveness and so much hurt and pain that I covered with the whole, this is my husband, no matter what. I know my convictions from God that we are supposed to be, we've got prophecies.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'll refer to my Christian walk because that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I woke up, boiled the kettle. No, it was not for him. I poured the kettle.
For my husband.
No. I told him, look, the kettle is boiled. Make the baby milk. I'm out.
How old was your baby then? Friend?
How old was Pretty?
Why was going to 2?
Yeah.
Because they were born in 2021. Is it the same as brother?
Same, yeah.
Are they, is him
He
and
was
brother
born in
the same?
2021.
Even brother was born in 2021, June. And you March.
Yeah, so it's the
Yes.
same year. So he wasn't even a year old yet. He was still a baby. At that point, I didn't care. Like, there was a point where my kids felt like such a burden, you know, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I slept at a garage, at a Sasol garage, and I'm like, okay, I'm going crazy. Let me look for a psychologist, like as though a psychologist will fix me immediately. But I was going crazy. And then I drove to a psych ward in Randburg. I waited until I thought they were open. I went in and I checked myself in. How? On the 31st of December, I'm there. I think I went on the 29th. I think I got a call from you, ne? Or a WhatsApp, an Instagram thing from you. But my phone was flooded.
It from me?
Yeah, my phone was flooded with messages because I had just gone to a session with my psychiatrist. And he was telling me, leave that marriage. I was like, no, I can't. Divorce is a sin. You know, I came back, I got a flood of messages. People are saying,
What's happening?
Sorry. Hey, we are praying for you. I'm like, what's going on? I call you, we get on the phone and you're like,
why can't I remember that? You know, I'm mixing your thing with Sims Right, because Sims Right, when I was going to, I was from the Loo, or I was from, I was from the Loo at 2 a.m. When I got on Instagram, I'm seeing her husband post stuff. So, now I remember I screenshotted. I was like, hey, Wena, what's going on?
You also screenshotted to me.
Oh.
No, you sent me a message.
What?
And you said to me, oh, mommy, I know what you're going through because I have a similar, problem or something like that.
What's
at that point where he made it seem like we tried to fix things and then now we are separating, like just marital problems. You were saying something like that.
Okay.
Not that you were separated.
Oh.
And then
not separating the ninka.
And I'm like, and then Kanti, what's going on here? So you sent me a screenshot because he had blocked me. And you know how Instagram folk are. Like if you tag your babe, they will follow him.
They will aim.
Literally 90% of my ex-husband's followers,
it's your people.
Were my people. Yes. So you can just imagine how shocked people were.
And you are Mrs. Marriage.
My cousins. And I'm like, wait,
what's happening?
I didn't know. We spoke about it when, you know? Yeah, so that incident happened. And when that happened, I was in a psych ward.
Yeah.
He told people I ran away with a man.
What was the why can I remember? I remember the
it's
post.
A good thing you don't remember, so
why my friend?
So that everybody can be filled in.
Actually, you're right. So it was him kissing the what was it after the
no the kissing one after.
You see, I'm mixing the story now.
No, that one was the other girl that I
Ghana, what was the weight then? What was the weight? What did he say on the Instagram story?
On the last day of the month of the year, I just want to, I remember it, guys. I just very political. I just wanted to announce that my wife and I have decided to separate. We have tried all avenues and I think this is the best. Please pray for us.
I think I remember.
Yeah, please pray for us. My heart then.
It was like, this man, I'm fixing myself for him. He's divorcing me.
But he wasn't. He was playing games.
Yeah,
he was playing hard games. Because what happens when you are in a trauma bond is that now when something like that happens, you run back to the person. You become the dog to be like, no, but I can make it right. I can, Yeah. So that happened. It was one of the things that made me go home. Yeah. And then after that, things just became worse and worse. Now I have 90% of my followers on his timeline. There's stuff happening in his private life on Instagram that obviously my followers will always tell me, look, because I get unblocked. Yeah. People will send me videos of what's happening.
What's going on?
And I have no words. Yeah. And I think at that point, anger built up. It built up. The whole thing came into play where I said I betrayed myself because I was not going to stand for this ever. Even in the conversations that we had prior, I would tell him that you cheat on me, I leave. Yeah. But why couldn't I leave? Because I was in a trauma bond. I couldn't leave. And that was my deal breaker. You cheat, I leave.
And then that was the first, because when you told me about the cheating, I asked you if it was the first time it happened and you said yes. So prior to that, there were other red flags, but cheating was not happening.
or I didn't catch him.
Okay.
Because I get it, I won't know.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I mean, some of the things like it's written in a book, but you know when you are in denial, you're just like, no, man, he's not that type of person. No, man, he can't do that. You know, I know him. Yeah, until, I always say that I'm God's favorite. Literally, these things, they come to me, you know. I don't go around fishing for them. I actually, even the first time I caught him J, you know, not because somebody said, yeah, he's at the corner, go, you know. So yeah, trauma bonding. That's what kept me and made me forget that there were standards that I set up for myself.
Yeah.
Christianity aside.
How do you think you being a Christian and how you want to be seen out there as far as your marriage is concerned, how has that just took you deep inside of it? Like Christianity, divorce is a sin, blah, blah, blah. How has that played a role in you staying in your marriage until the last drop?
I think, I've always been a very transparent person about more other stuff that I've gone through, that I've done. And people were already aware of these things. But there was just something about my marriage that I didn't want to disclose about. Even when we were like together, I didn't really talk about my marriage. I would post here and then, and but there's something about being in a marriage that keeps you holding on to hope. You hope that things will go better. I mean, better. You hold on to the good times so much. Even if the good times happened 20 years ago, you're just like, at least there's part of him that if he could do that, it means there's good in him. And then you start going into like warfare prayers, or,
my husband,
fire, Holy Ghost, Satan, let go of my husband, because you've seen a glimpse of goodness in him.
Yeah.
And it's like you have this piece of bread.
Yeah.
And you don't want to eat it. Because this reminds you that once upon a time you had provision.
I had provision.
So being a Christian also, I was battling with the whole, I don't suffer from Abantu Azotin. Like, I don't suffer from that per se.
Yeah.
But it came from a point of, how do I reconcile what I know God said in the beginning and what's happening now? If I let go, does it mean I am letting go of what God promised?
Yeah. Or
is he saying, leave? But I knew God will never tell me divorce.
So what are you saying then?
Then I stayed because I was unsure.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where I had to understand that even in the promise, even in the conviction, even in the praying and knowing that this is supposed to be your husband, you have kids with this person.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango. If one doesn't come to the party, then
you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. You can't be married.
You can have the promise, but there's nothing.
No, exactly. The promise is there. But if you don't come to the party, the promise cannot be fulfilled. If I go alone,
equally yoked come into play that even if he was also a Christian and
no. I think it's just when the Bible says God gives you, the choice to choose between life and death. Choice. It was his choice not to follow through. And I think that's what freed me.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with the fact that I'm disobeying anyone.
Yeah.
It was, I had to sit down and ask myself, did you do your best? Was your best enough? And come to a point where I'm just like, I've come to the party.
Yeah.
Even when everything fell apart, I went back. In Feb, I was home. I was between home and Joburg. Remember my kids? Okay, my kids went to school in Joburg.
Yeah.
So after after Christmas and all that, I went back with the kids because they were supposed to start school in January. And then remember I left home on the 28th of January on my birthday.
On your birthday.
Yeah. And then in February I came back. That's when we had that thing. We spent the weekend with the Makunyanis. We were not even talking.
No, we're
not talking. That day was moomish.
Yeah.
That day I drank so much alcohol. Remember, Mar?
You were drinking with
hard. Like, no, we're taking shots. Let's go.
And with us, you'll drink.
Jägermeister.
Yeah, with us, you'll drink. So why do you think you were drinking? Were you just trying to drown yourself on your problems or what?
I had lost myself so much that I'm like, the people that he's going around with do this. So why can't I do that?
Oh, my friend, why did
And I
you
didn't
drink
tell
at
you.
my house? You did not. I was just thinking we are all having fun.
Guy, when did you hear me saying I'm drinking that much or whatever I'm drinking?
I don't know. I'm thinking we are in the presence of our men and whatever.
I was like, oh, let's go. I mean, I get away in a and that's like, I was in my lowest of all like, don't ever do that. Like, hold on to the little dignity. I'm not saying, but I was just at the point where I'm just like, maybe this is my last shot.
Yo, Ki, that thing, you need to. You don't know what a person is going through.
Yeah.
Because you were not going. We were talking like we were talking.
Yeah.
But you were not
day.
going. Like we were talking every day. Even on that day, like we were talking. All of us we were talking. This one was talking. This one was talking. But you were not talking.
But also that day, remember I told you guys that you guys were not giving me a chance to talk.
Yeah.
And it was a point where I think your husband said, no, let's give him a chance to talk. My ex-husband.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And the things that was coming out of his mouth,
It was like,
there's no way I was not going to swallow a drink. No, because remember, he was swearing at me in front of you guys.
but we accused him there. We told him straight that you
He
can't
would
do
tell
that.
me stuff like, yeah, you think you're the only one. If you take my phone, there's like 20 more girls.
But then, Namara, when I reflect there, obviously, we didn't know him.
Yeah.
And we gave him a chance to speak, which is
huge.
a huge chance to speak, because I always spoke with you, and my husband obviously came with him, so we need to hear him. I've never heard your husband speak. I don't know. It was the first time I meet him face to face. You understand? But what we couldn't stand was for him to swear at you.
Yeah, no.
We called him off there. I don't want people to say that we in.
No.
No. My husband called him off, but we really gave him a.
You were like the psychologist.
We were the coach. You are listening to, but still, you know what? It had to happen so that even me, I like holding on things. Even me, even my husband, we can just see that there's nothing here. We really spoke to him. He have said his side of the story. Tiisetso said he will change, but then especially now, we are just totally disappointed.
Yeah.
You see now, there's nothing even my husband can tell me that talk to Tiisetso. There's nothing, zero. He's like, oh.
Back then, truth be told, back then I was like, because people pleasing, because I'm always trying to over explain myself. I was trying so hard to show you what I was actually going through. Hence, I think that's why I didn't even talk about what I was really, going through. Because I'm like, guys, please see it my way. Guys, please just, I know. I left that weekend. That weekend was good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, because it silenced the little girl that was afraid. Because I saw there was like, okay, I can go back now.
Yeah.
But something happened that day.
Yeah.
Where we were on the phone when I was driving back home. I dropped him off. I was talking on the phone and he said to me, do you think that we can make this work after everything that happened? I fell for that.
Yeah, I think I would also fall for that. Hey, it's hitting me in the heart.
Yeah, I fell for that.
It's like somebody really sat down and thought about.
Like, I want to do this. You're like, okay, at least now I didn't force him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we got back, I don't even want to lie, it was all good. It was like, I got my friend back. We were good.
Yeah.
But how long would you keep up the pretense?
You can't.
So at some point he was like, I can't pretend anymore.
The mask fell off.
Literally a small thing happened and he was like, I don't want this. But the funny thing is, every time he says, I want a divorce, he never initiates it.
Yeah.
Never. And if I did not initiate this one, I'd still be in the
entangled in the in-between. So, okay, now you've got the children and then one day you sent me a picture. You told me like before that, I know they've given us the day for the decree, blah, blah, blah. And then the day you sent me the picture when you were in this big, yes, in the, we just get married. You were in this big, big, big court. I'm like, sure. Yeah. It takes a lot to end the marriage. Now you are there, and he never pitched. After he was pestering you.
When are you doing this? When are you going to the, For me, I got scared, firstly, when they gave us the date, because I was like, I haven't seen this person since December. It's been so long. My last interaction with him before the December one was not a pretty one.
Yeah.
We had fought physically, and it was not pretty at all. And I was wondering if I still had the anger in me. There are some people who just bring it out.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, will I be saying, a knife somewhere, But at some point I was just like, if he comes, then it's fine. But then
sorry, what is the time? It's 1 hour. Okay, we're gonna wrap up now. Yeah, sorry, my friend.
Yeah, so then I did the divorce proceedings alone. All he was doing was asking me, hey, how far are you? Hey, why is it taking long? Hey, that day I sat there and I was just like, I'm so proud of myself for choosing me. And I was like, I had mixed emotions, but I was proud of me, because the me that I became would have never done this.
100%.
And prior to for me to actually go and file for the divorce, because I lean a lot on God. There's a guy randomly who sent me a message and say, God says it's okay for you to throw away the box. I had a box with a lot of things that had my stuff and his stuff, our stuff. Like, I don't know, when we packed, there's a box that I don't know why I kept it.
Yeah.
It was in my car. I drove around with it everywhere, but this guy didn't know about it. He says to me, God says it's okay to let it go. And he has your back. That's all I needed. I didn't want to question. I knew immediately when he said that, I'm like, I have a box of things that belong to me and him that represent our marriage, and God says, let go of that box. Immediately I contacted the relevant people, and when I sat there, I knew I was in right standing.
Yeah.
I was not condemning myself. I was actually glad he was not there.
Yeah.
Because then the court can ask a lot of questions. Hey, go to therapy. So I was like, let's just get it over and done with. And I was going to represent myself actually when I got there. And some lawyer just came and took over the case for me.
Oh, wow. So you are a divorced woman now. Are you going to change your surname?
Yeah.
Are you taking your dad's surname?
Yeah, I'm going back to Kgomo. Once I get the divorce decree, it should be out already, but I'm definitely changing my surname.
Yeah.
Still have to, have a conversation with my kids. I think this year I took time.
Do you want to change your kids' surname?
No.
Oh.
No, I am not that bitter. No.
Because they are.
I wish I was, but.
Friend, it will just be
no.
stuff for you. Just...
No, it's fine. They are slick with.
Anyway, the
problem. I think of it now. I'm like, the problem of getting married before the child is born because of surnames, it doesn't matter now.
Anyway, my friend, so I feel like even people are going to complain. I know that. So I think we'll try and have a continuation so that we can just wrap up this conversation. But otherwise, is he supporting the kids? Is he financially, physically and everything? I know that you're trying to get the kids to him, which you have been doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is support? What does it look like?
It's sending money, knowing that the kids, what?
Does it bark at night?
Oh my gosh. That's true.
That's my answer.
Anyway, guys, I know you're going to shout at me. I know you guys are going to shout at me. This is short. Yes, I know that. But I have to go for an orientation at my child's school. My husband is most probably there already. I don't know. And we're definitely going to have a part 2 with my friend. And it's Love and Light. I'm going to share her social media details. She's got a YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe there. You guys, you don't subscribe, but I've seen you've subscribed on the other girls thingy. Please go and subscribe. She's trying to grow her YouTube as well. Her TikTok, her Instagram, I'll leave them in the description box. Please go and check her out. And sorry for cutting you short, Mary. Even you have to go yourself.
Yeah, I do. But I think it would be for the second one, maybe they can tell us what more they want to know.
Okay. You're still having friends who are content creators. Please tell us how you guys want us to ask questions, the continuation of this. How do you guys want us to move forward with the conversation? Thank you guys, and it's a wrap.